and I'll represent to both of you that this is a shot of casinos in Macau. And I want to take the discussion that we've had so far about the Yakuza in Japan and then start to move to a little higher elevation outside of Japan. And what's the connection, if any, that the Yakuza has with the whole gambling industry outside of the country, like in Macau?
Well, just first of all, gambling has been a traditional part of Asian culture and of Asian organized crime. And whether it's Chinese Triads, Onleong Tong, Hip Sing Tong, all the Tongs, the Yakuza, or Boryokudan, gambling's a huge part of the culture. And we see that here in Hawaii. And we don't have any legal gambling here, but that's not to say that there isn't any gambling here. Las Vegas, been a huge influence. You see all the people from Hawaii make the trek to Las Vegas.
The 11 o'clock Delta flight.
Las Vegas interests in Macau. You know, U.S. business is there in Macau as well. And this is one of the areas in which the Japanese organized crime, Chinese organized crime, American organized crime, to the extent that it's involved in gambling these days in Las Vegas, and what else? Maybe Chinese, Korean, Japanese, American, they all cooperate in the gambling industry, in the gaming industry.
Yeah, you certainly see the businesses intersect, and that's what you see in Vegas, Macau. In Macau, there is certainly Yakuza interest there. In fact, it's one Yakuza who got involved there was able to get himself plugged in pretty well, and it actually irritated other Yakuza because he was being taken as a legitimate man. And it really bothers them. The Yakuza are involved in gambling in South Korea. And finally, as you know, casinos are probably coming to Japan before too long. The momentum's built. And the question has always come, well, won't the Yakuza get into that? And of course, it's been, everyone involved in this says, oh, of course not. We keep them out. We're going to do this and that. And a dear old friend of mine who was a very senior National Police Agency official who passed on about 2 months ago.
In Japan. This is Japan.
That's right. Yeah. I was having breakfast with him once. He says, the only people who can keep the Yakuza out of the Japanese casinos are the Yakuza. And they're not going to do it.
All right, let's take a look at this next picture, if we could. And talk about triads. Let's move from Yakuza to organized crime elsewhere in the region here, China, Hong Kong, Taiwan. That photograph that we just saw, either of you recognize that?
The symbol as such, I don't particularly
Let's try it one more
recognize,
time. We'll see one more time. What do we got there?
They're two triad symbols.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. And let's go to the next picture after that. And I noticed some similarities but differences in the tattoo styles. These are I'll represent to you photographs of triads from someplace in the region here.
Tattoos amongst whether it's Yakuza, the Triads, the Aryan nations, prison tattoo type things, they're pretty much an earmark of organized crime. Not so much with the Sicilian and Italian organized crime families. They were never really into tattoos. But the new, and I don't mean to represent that the Triads and the Yakuza are a startup, because they've been around for a long, long time before U.S. organized crime or any of them were involved. But for instance, with the Yakuza, and I assume with the Triads as well, the tattoos are in a way a symbol of art for them. It's a passage for them, because they're not done like tattoos are today with electric needles and that sort of thing. A lot of them are done with pretty significant body piercing and ink injected with bamboo or needles and that sort of thing.
So but severe discomfort
Yeah,
involved.
it's a painful, long, expensive process for them. So it's kind of a symbol of their standing.
Let's try another triad photograph here, number 18, if we could.
I'd also mention that they're also, as with gangs today, they're a good way, as Grant had mentioned in Japan, they cover them, but it's a good way to identify various gang members and organized crime members. And so here in the U.S., when they're arrested, gang members, their tattoos are routinely photographed. I don't know if the police authorities in Japan really keep track of the tattoos or not. Not like the U.S. probably.
It's pretty much a prima facie case that you're Yakuza if you have a tattoo in Japan, and it's the artwork is so elaborate and so unique that